Tatiane Spitzner was allegedly strangled and thrown from a fourth-floor apartment in Brazil by her husband on a day that was supposed to be filled with joy, love and affection for her. Unfortunately, it ended in a disastrous way. These are Tatiane Spitzner's final moments. Hello and welcome to Twisted Crimes. Subscribe and hit the like button for more stories. Tatiane Spitzner, 29, was a prominent lawyer who lived in Guarapuava, the largest town in Paraná state by area. She and her husband Luis Felipe Manvila have been married for nearly 5 years. It was Luis Felipe's birthday when tragedy struck. On a day that was supposed to be filled with laughter and positive energy, the two got into a fight. The argument started when Tatiane was a couple of minutes late coming home. Her husband was waiting for her all dressed up because they were meeting friends at a local restaurant. Manila was extremely serious about physical enhancement, Virtuoso claimed. The police even located a substantial stash of anabolic steroids in the couple's residence. The couple eventually arrived at the restaurant where Tatiane's friends were waiting for them. They all wished Luis Felipe a happy birthday, and it seemed that the waters cooled and they would have a good time. According to the perpetrator's statement, they both drank that night and got a little bit tipsy. Other reports say another fight broke out between the two when Tatiane found supposed evidence of her husband talking to another woman on Instagram, but Luis Felipe denied it. Tatiane was generally reticent with personal concerns, yet she opened up and complained about Luis Felipe. Julian told police his jealousy troubled her. Juliana Santos told police Tatiane moved to Germany with her husband, who was pursuing a PhD degree. It's unclear why he became possessive of her. Tatiane and her pals didn't chat much and drifted apart, but when the couple returned to Guarapuava they renewed contact. Tatiane contacted me in November to congratulate me on my birthday, and she already wanted to meet me for coffee. She even considered divorce out of fear, but the paperwork made Tatiane change her mind. Julian said Luis Felipe was treating her horribly, insulting her in front of others, and even disliking her. After the party escalated into a quarrel, the two proceeded to the Golden Gate building in downtown Guarapuava where they lived. Security cameras in the city center where they lived captured a thorough report of the occurrence. Outside the facility, photos showed the university professor slapping his wife before they left the car. Tatiane tried to fight him off, but his raw power was too much for the 29-year-old lawyer. He continued to harass her after they got out of the car. The sickening display of violence continued in their building's underground park. The brute battered her without remorse, overpowering her every attempt to defend herself. She is seen hiding behind one of the pillars in the underground garage, but he was able to locate her. Tatiane tried to run away through the parking lot, but the man chased her down and hit her repeatedly. She escaped and ran to the elevator. CCTV footage show a distraught Tatiane running for her life, stalked by her husband. The woman got into the elevator first and hastily hit the button so the door would close. That didn't happen. Luis Felipe outran the elevator door's closing mechanism and entered where Tatiane was hiding. After the doors closed, the elevator resumed going up, and her husband seemed to calm down. When the doors opened again, Tatiane sprinted for the exit, but her husband caught her and dragged her inside, not letting her escape. Tatiane tried to great measures to protect her life, but the steroid-using strongman tossed her across metal walls, hurting her head and causing her to tumble. Those were the last images found when Tatiane was breathing. After the brutality in the elevator, the two went inside their apartment. It's not clear what happened there, but the outcome was horrible. About 15 minutes had passed since they left the elevator, so we can only imagine the brutality behind closed doors. Other CCTV footage outside the building right in front of the entrance shows a body dropping on the sidewalk. The images are so brutal that they have been blurred, but the most shocking thing was about to happen. Not knowing what to do and fearing the consequences of his actions, Luis Felipe leaves his apartment, exits the building, and then carries the corpse inside. Felipe from Louis takes Tatiane's body into the elevator, puts her on the floor, and raises his hands in remorse and shock, but this was all for the cameras. Louise Philippe takes the body out of the elevator before returning with a rag and wiping what seems to be blood from the walls and floor. These scenes are more shocking when you consider the ease with which he cleans his tracks. He is seen wiping down blood from the elevator walls almost like he was cleaning dust. After all of this, the aggressor tried to escape by coming back down and getting to his car. He was involved in an accident where he still tried to flee the scene, but the police were quick to find him and apprehend him before he got away. He was led to a room where he would be questioned. He told the police that he was in an argument with his wife and due to her being frustrated as regards some issues she got so upset and decided to jump off the balcony to her death. According to the report, there was no evidence of any chemical reaction in Tatiana's body prior to her death. No traces of adrenaline or cortisol were present, which would indicate fear or awareness of plummeting to the ground. Experts say that the young woman was already dead when she hit the ground. She also had many injuries consistent with a 40-foot drop onto concrete pavement. Upon further investigation, the imprint of a pair of hands was discovered on her throat, and her hyoid bone was fractured, an injury commonly associated with strangulation. Criminal prosecutor Diana Rampasso said, "Our investigation reveals the woman was asphyxiated and her body was thrown over the balcony." According to witness testimonies and the deputy's complaint, Tatiana's husband called her albino trash for her skin color. Besides destroying Tatiana's clothes if he didn't like them, he had to approve anything she wore. Tatiana was also restricted by Louis Philippe from using her own money, which she'd earned as a lawyer. If she wanted to buy clothes, he had to approve, but if she bought something without his knowing, he'd rip it and toss it away. Louis Philippe Manvilla was sentenced to femicide after the July 2018 events. After killing his wife, Louis Philippe was convicted of procedural fraud, which increased his sentence by 1 year, 9 months, and 18 days. He has been detained in the industrial penitentiary of Guarapuava since then. The trial lasted 7 days and the conviction was made by an all-male jury. During the trial, he apologized to the victim's family for the assaults but denied the murder, saying his wife jumped from the balcony to commit suicide, despite all the evidence to the contrary.
Antes de começar a responder objetivamente essas perguntas, eu gostaria de afirmar, em alto e bom tom, né, que eu sou inocente. Eu não matei a minha esposa, eu não sou um assassino, eu realmente não a matei, nunca.
Tatiana tried everything she could to escape, but she needed support, as do many other women around the world. Don't be hesitant to ask questions or speak up.